Okay, hello, my faith walkers. Once more, praying all is well. I'm on here again, um, seeing plenty of things. Um, I made a video before this one. Same thing I'm about to talk about now. I did before. So, it felt as though I was rambling and whatnot a bit much, trying to get it out. Because I did pray before ahead of time to ask God to look, whatever it is that you're trying to tell me to say, help me with this thing, Lord. Right? Because as I always say, I want to do His will and I want to do it right. I don't want to be in my flesh doing anything. So, and I know what God shows me. So, there's no question about that either. Because I be fighting with this thing. Even when I know, He showed it to me, I be fighting with it. I be fighting with it. But God knows He's my Father. He is my Father. Mine. Okay, anyway. All right, so, at the time, because I know I hadn't been on here in a while, but at the time, I had come across something on the TV, and it was about couples. I want to come right straight out and say whatever it is. And it's this gentleman that was doing the gentleman was doing a experiment or something like that on these couples. So he came across a couple that was homeless, and excuse me, and they were our folks, of course, and one was from Alabama, they said, and one was from Louisiana. And, I never heard their names or anything like that. They never stated their names. I was trying to rewind it back to see if, did they give a name? Because there was another couple on here as well, and they gave their names when they were older. But these particular ones, not to my knowledge, they gave a name. I don't remember at all. But it was such significance of them. They were homeless, of course, and they are close to God's heart. Those type of people, when they're homeless, they're the most content people that you will ever know. These homeless people, and to make a long story short, I'm gonna try to make it short as I possibly can. Um, they were asked some questions, and then it just became, because I knew, I just felt that they were homeless or something was going on with them. Sensed it, and sure enough, when they started talking, they were homeless, and they were talking about how people were giving to them. The lady had a coat that was given to her, and he had different things that were given to him or whatever. And they were talking about how they would say one got saved, I think, and the other got saved another time. The gentleman, and I they were asked different questions and whatnot, and the man that was like interviewing them was wondering how they got together, how they do what they do while they're out there, in the cold and whatnot. And that day was like in the 60s, so it was pretty nice that day, but fairly cool and chilly. And they began to talk about how they would be going through things together, and well, they met coming from both of their cities at the same time, and they met in the ground with a Greyhound bus or something like that, and they met together, and they got connected that way, and I think got married and all that good stuff, whatever. And the gentleman was saying how they were kicked out helping someone else, right? And this was family, of course, helping family, and they got kicked out of their place. So it caused them to be homeless, lose their place and be homeless, and they were sleeping under the bridge or whatever in a tent, and that nature. And so they the gentleman started asking them questions, and I knew it was some significance when I came across that video, because it was just like I was hesitant 2 or 3 times as I went by. I wanted to click on it, but I didn't. I was looking at the title. and I can't remember what the title was, but it had nothing to do with couples at all. So, um, but I'm gonna just go right into the significance of whatever it was. And mind you, I saw two sets of couples, but this was a couple. And mind you, on the gentleman's shirt, he had like two cats, but it was two cats, like it was a couple with cats. So there's this number two again, and I've been seeing the 216, 126 again about the, the joy that we would experience, when God turns His captivity to Zion, and we were them like we would we were them that like that dream or something like that in Psalms 126. So all of that was coming to me, and the couple rather was so joyful, and so appreciative of God. um, it's like they're more content. The ones that don't have, or the ones that have less of, are more content than some of us that have. And some of us that have, we're still asking for more. We're not never satisfied. So that's a word in itself, to be content. Until your change comes, until God is, you know, because He's moving and He's always moving, but until He finishes doing the work, you know. Um, and in the meantime, all we do is continue to reverence Him, praise Him, worship Him, give Him gratitude, thank Him for everything that He's done, He is, we are, you know, how He keeps us or whatever, right? So this couple was so grateful of the situation that they were already in, because the man was pumped up for real. He was saying how he um he was saying how he believed and how he trusted God, how he was in expectancy, right? And he was also saying how we always seem to try to figure things out, right? But God already worked it out. So and that thing he said at the end of this, what I'm about to say now. But I had to throw that in there because it's true. We always trying to figure things out with God, and of course we can't. We need to let Him, do what He do, and then when He needs us to do whatever we do, just do it, obey and just do what He needs and or telling us to do, because it's gonna be all well, in the long run. So this homeless couple, as they were interviewed, the woman started saying, or the man started saying, one of them, the husband or the wife, one of them started saying, um, two became one. Out of the clear blue, the two became one. They're talking about themselves. We as two people joined together became as one. As they came from Alabama, one came from Alabama, one came from the woman came from Alabama, the man came from Louisiana, and they got together from a Greyhound, through the Greyhound bus, right? After this Greyhound bus visit, and they met on the Greyhound or whatever, they had been together ever since. Now, I'm not sure if I told you all that just now or not, but I know I said it when I did the video before this, the first time. But if I hadn't, that's how they met, through the Greyhound, and they had been together ever since, right? So they um, they started saying us two as a couple after that became one. The gentleman said it was like fate. I knew that we belonged together, that this was my rib, he said. Okay, so now, as I said before on that video that I didn't get to post, and I'm redoing this now over, the rib is like an analogy. Um, it was found in Genesis 22:2 or 2:22, something like that nature. Um, Look it up, and it speaks about Adam's. The woman was taken from man's rib, which that's not true. We come from a woman's womb. Everybody does, right? It's an analogy when they say that, when the Bible speaks that a rib is not a literal rib. A lot of people don't realize that, evidently, that there are some things that are spoken in the word that is literal, and some is spoken spiritual, right? Because the whole thing is a spiritual type of thing, but there are precepts and analogies and different things, examples of that nature that are in there to be explained by, right? So nobody can never be taken out of anybody's rib. Now, we're not saying that God can't do all things, because he can do what he want to do. But excuse me, that's impossible. But that's nothing is impossible, of course, for God. We already know that, right? But that's an analogy as to someone finding their rib, right? Or um, them conjoining with a person's rib. It's actually meaning that we are a match for that next person. We are part of them. We become them spiritually. We become them, right? It's just like twins. Say, for instance, two is just like twins, right? When a person or woman has children and they have twins, they are of the same stature, right? They are of the same nature because they look alike. Um, some of them could be fraternal, some of them could be identical, right? Identical is just alike. Fraternal twins, of course, they have similarities, right? So when we conjoin together, they're conjoined together. Some of them are actually born stuck together, right? Joined together and have to have surgery sometime to, pull them apart. It's like that. It's an analogy of, you know, a person finding their rib. It's just a part of them, like that was lost, that was meant to be from the very beginning of time, you know, and how God made it to be, or performed it to be, or destined it to be. So that's what the rib part is about. So um, he said, we as two became one. And he said he knew that that was his rib, right? He knew that she was a part of him, that she was meant for him and him only to be, right? So if there's some significance in this word for anyone out there that is hearing me by, God's spirit, then of course it's for you. Take that for you. It's like a confirmation for you to know what I am saying, because it would resonate, and it would stick to your spirit, basically. You would feel your heart feel your spirit. You would automatically know what I'm saying. So of course, he went on and said he was a missing rib, and the gentleman kept asking questions about, how do y'all do it? How do you stay in love? Um, how do you work this thing out, as far as it being cold and whatnot? And during that day, it was just 60 degrees, they said, and it was just fairly cool. But all other days, how do you do it? And um, at that time, before I go on to whatever their answers were, I noticed, as I backtracked the video, they were standing right in front of a church in a plaza, and it said the Passion of Christ Church. That's who they were standing in front of. And I mean, I know it's, like I said, it was a lot of significance in it, because they were talking God, and he was saved. They were saved both, and I think one got saved before the other, and the other one came on in, and that's how um, it was meant to be, that they were God ordained, right? So they were asking questions about, how you keep warm, just that and the third, or whatever. Um, And he's the I think it was the gentleman said that my wife said I keep well no he started hugging his wife and took her by the arm and the neck like that and said, well, this is how we do it, we cuddle, right? And said my wife says that with my body heat I'm the one that keep her warm, right? So um and what hit my spirit at that time was the what do you call it, the scripture Ecclesiastes 4 9 to 12, right? And it says, it reads, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone. And they had been going through a lot of things, they said together. Woe unto one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And so when I read that, when he said that, how they cuddle and whatnot, that hit my spirit hard, and that's what came to me about that scripture there, the Ecclesiastes 4 9 to 12, about two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? That's self explanatory, is it not? So, of course, this is a couple word, of course, is for ones, I guess, that are going to come together, um, ones that are looking to come together. I guess, I mean, if they know who their partner is going to be, or I know some are waiting on their partners and whatnot. And God is speaking, letting you know that two is better than one. Um, and the gentleman was asking, uh, what makes them stay together or whatever, right? And the woman wife, she happened to say, his love for her keeps her inspired. Their love keeps her inspired. That's what she was saying. Their love keeps her inspired. And so the gentleman that was interviewing them wanted to bless them, and he wasn't edging it on at that time, but the homeless guy, had so much faith, said that I know God is about to work something, right? And I have just that much faith. And he just said out of the clear blue, we tend to try to figure things out, but God had already worked it out. We try to figure things out, he said, but God had already worked it out. So it's true. We do sometimes tend to try to figure things out on our own, because it said to lean not, trust God with all the heart and lean not to thy own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him. He will direct our path. But we have to put our faith and our trust in the Most High God, um, to know that He's gonna do what He say He's gonna do, when He say He's gonna do it. You know. In the meantime, all we have to do is continue to trust, continue to love on God, continue to work on us, continue to have faith in God, continue to, read the Word, continue to get in that Word and let it lead us and guide us and strengthen us even the more. Because I know that's what I do. But this is what I am getting for real. That these are the things that we need to do um, in time passing, as we go along. And then there was another couple that I saw, and it was an older couple, and of course it was same um as us again, and they were older, and I don't know what the significance of them was except for their names. Um, the gentleman's name was David. Now I don't know if this means something to someone or not, but the gentleman's name was David. His wife's name was Deborah. As we know, Deborah was a judge, right? And she was appointed to deliver Israel, right? We already know what David was. David was a mighty little warrior. Um, no one else decided to try to fight the giant, right? So he stood out in faith. There again, in faith. So if there's somebody that's out there that needs to step out on faith, do so. Step out on faith. If God is telling you to do something, step out on faith and do it. Do it. I'm laughing because me. Step out on faith and do it. David said, or he used, just like we need a grain of a mustard seed, this small. That's what a mustard seed is, that small, to move mountains, right? That's all God said that we needed. Faith is the size of a grain of a mustard seed to move that mountain. Say to that mountain, be thou removed. David came in the name of the Lord, he said, with this little rock, right? And sling. Took that slingshot. I come in the name of the Lord, he said. And with his authority, because God gave it to us. With his little self, he had authority. And it doesn't matter. Because when God equipped you with something, my God, when God equipped you with something, it's already done. We just have to walk in and walk in faith. And this is just what that gentleman was saying, that homeless guy, the other one, was saying. He said, he said, we tend to try to figure things out, but God already worked it out. And he said that all we need to do is just step in it, just to walk in it. That's just what he said. I didn't get to say that part, but that's the part that came back to me after that. But we walk by faith and not by sight. But we have to use that faith, because that faith word is an action word, right? And we can't stay still if we have to move. That word requires movement, right? So without faith, it's impossible to please God. So step out on faith. Do whatever it is that God told you to do, so you can move forward. When he said there will be no delay, there will be no delay, but it's us. Again, I had a conversation with somebody the other day about that. It was broken down all over again. And it's us that stagnate ourselves. It's not nobody else. We, a lot of times, our own worst enemy. And we can prolong our own time. God did say there would not be no delay. It won't be. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, not listening yourself, what do you think gonna be? Nothing. Zip. Nada. Because God don't never sleep nor slumber. But we can allow the enemy to put us in a stupor, in a sleep, and in a slumber. And that's not good. So whoever needed to hear it, because I know it always touches my heart and my spirit, to get me to stand up and rise continuously again and continue to move forward. You know, um, always come and go wherever you go in the name of the Lord. Use the power and the might of God, through His Spirit, and walk in it, walk through it, and walk to it. That's it. And God bless you.